been a history-making 12 months for the New Zealand Test side, a series win over England in England and winning the inaugural World Test Championship. This is a golden period for New Zealand cricket and the Test side in particular. Gary, must be nice to be back on home soil and to tag next to the side.
Yeah, I mean, it's lovely to be back here for a start. I mean, we play well at home. I think we know how we want to play well here, and so coming back to familiar conditions is always nice. But yeah, it has been a whirlwind 12 months. We've had, I guess, the amazing journey of getting to the World Test Championship final and then ultimately winning that as well, which is a hell of a lot of relief and joy, I think, to the team as well.
Home season last year, you had 4 Test matches against the West Indies and Pakistan. Needed to win all 4 if you're going to be any chance of making that final. What was the thinking? What was the process heading into that home summer?
We acknowledged that at the start of the year and then tried to park it because there was still, I guess, permutations that meant we might not make it still. So Australia could end up on the same points, which they did, but then they lost a couple of points through to the over rate. So we knew what we had to do, but I guess you can't look too far to the end because then you might miss out on some of the processes. And the test match we had here against Pakistan that went right down to the wire before Mitch Satner took that great caught and bowled. I mean, we knew what was on the line there, so it was great fighting spirit, I think, from the team.
After the home summer, winning those test matches, you went to England for 2 test matches that weren't part of the World Test Championship. And in that build-up, you beat England in the series, which was the first time New Zealand had beaten England in England since 1999. So again, another piece of New Zealand cricket history, which I guess was great for that side.
Yeah, it was. And if you remember, we drew the first test there. We had a day washed out at Lord's and made it, I think, tough to get a result. We left England about 270 to score on the last day or a couple of sessions. But then to go to Edgbaston and I guess change 6 players out because we wanted to keep some freshness for that World Test Championship final and for guys to step up, I think, sort of shows the depth that we are creating at the moment. Statistically, I mean, Devon Conway scores a double century on debut at Lord's. Amazing. He looks like he's got the pedigree to be a fine international batsman. So excited about what he brings. And Kyle, I mean, the fastest New Zealander to 50 test wickets by 3 test matches, I think. So pretty amazing in what he has brought to the team. I think what I enjoy with the 4 pace bowlers that we have is they're all quite different as well. So Kyle has the height, the bounce. Tim and Trent have the swing, and Waggy has that mongrel that you need at times as well, and the ability to put people under pressure with a different type of bowling. So whilst we have 4 pace bowlers, they're all quite different and play different roles for us.
Oh, he's got it. He's got it.
A lot of people, a lot of the players have been through a couple of World Cup finals in terms of one-day cricket. Yourself at 2019 World Cup. What were the overriding emotions of everyone and yourself after that win?
I think relief, really, and I think it's the first thing you experience is, oh,
thank goodness.
Wow, yeah, thank goodness that's done. We can cross that off the list now and just carry on and play cricket. In some ways, I think that's been testament to the way we've played the recent T20 World Cup as well, is guys have now believed a little bit more and that we can do it, we can compete on the big scene and big circuit. And to be in the last 4 world finals, I guess, is something that I know as a team we're pretty proud of. I remember saying to the guys a couple of times, we've done the work, now it's just the topping up here. It's not about having to get ourselves started for a series. So we played in some conditions that I thought were marginal as well to start the test match. But then to get right through to the end and chasing 145, I think it was, on that last innings with the Indian spinners that you knew would come into play was always going to be a challenge. But I mean, Kane was given out and then reviewed and overturned, which would have made us 40 for 3 and under quite a bit of pressure then. But yeah, great to see Ross and Kane use their experience, I think, to calm the dressing room and get the job done.
I thought it was quite fitting that we had New Zealand's 2 best batsmen at the crease. Ross Taylor hitting the winning runs, but those 2 have been such important parts of the Test side for so many years. I thought it was fitting that they were there at the end.
Just great for, I think, both those guys, and now what we know with Ross as well, with his impending retirement. Fantastic for him to be able to hit those winning runs is something I know he'll remember forever, and I know we'll remember forever.
So that was obviously a piece of history that no one will ever forget, the first of hopefully many in years to come. Toured India, which is always a tough tour for New Zealand. We haven't had a lot of success over there ever. So what were your takings from that tour?
I think it was nice in the end to take some points away from the Test series. So, I mean, everyone I think would say, "Oh, why didn't you try and chase that down on the last day of that first Test?" Very, very difficult conditions when the ball's almost going underground at times, and it did show that you can lose wickets in clumps. So I think getting ourselves in a position first to save the Test was a good place to be. And then, even then, it was so close to losing it as well. We then went to Mumbai. Very different, completely different soil, red soil, dusts up quicker, bounces more. We got no preparation because of 2 days of rain beforehand, which is unheard of in India, really. But we still went in with confidence into that game, but I guess got on the wrong side of the toss again, and I guess it went downhill pretty quickly when we didn't, I guess, do so well in our first innings.
I guess conditions are so different over there to what we experience in New Zealand. Is it fair to say that there's still some work to be done, especially by the batting group, of how they play spin, how they work on their defensive game, and how you put a decent total up on against quality spinners in India?
Yeah, I think so, but I think it's not just about the batsmen. I think it's about how the bowlers bowl in those conditions, and even the spin bowlers as well. I mean, Ajaz Patel, fantastic what he achieved over there. When you look at the speeds of the spinners, they will generally bowl 6 to 8k quicker than us, and they're used to that, and it's something that we're very different. I had a chat with Rahul Dravid over there about when they come here, all he asks his spinners to do is to bowl slower, and they struggle to do that the same way we struggle to bowl at a faster pace more consistently. So that's something that I think we are, it's something we put in memory bank, but we go there so rarely that it's very, very hard to make those changes. So it just shows how important it is you do well in your home conditions.
Being a selector as a head coach must have its headaches, I guess, at times. And on Ajaz Patel, his performance in that last Test match, picking up all 10, which is only the 3rd time it's been done in Test cricket, remarkable, great for a New Zealander to do that. That must have been one of your more difficult selection calls, leaving him out of the squad for the upcoming series.
Yep. Definitely. I mean, when someone does that, it's never easy to leave people out. But I guess we went back and looked at the history of the last couple of years and what's happened in New Zealand, and looked at the strength of our pace bowling unit as well. And I guess you put reliance on them to do the job that you hope they will do, and probably look at Hagley in particular. Spinners definitely played more of a part here at Mount Maunganui, but Hagley, a spinner, often won't bowl a ball there. So you start then balancing the squad you think is right.
Is that a concern that spinners are becoming redundant in New Zealand cricket?
I actually don't think they're becoming redundant. I think it's a situation of where we have with the strength of the current Black Caps group right now. I think if you look through domestic cricket, I think these still have quality spinners, or spinners that are coming through the system. One day we won't have Neil Wagner, and we won't have Tim Southee and Trent Boult, and it might be we're looking at a slightly different makeup to our side then.
Gary, been in the role 3 and a bit years now. How has Gary Stead evolved over the last 3 and a bit years with his time as Black Caps head coach?
Well, if I took my hat off, you'd see there's a lot less hair and a lot grey.
Looks a bit grey, I was going to say. I didn't want to say that. But
look, I mean, I think as a coach you develop and grow with the team as well, and certainly the lead-in as a first-class coach was great, but it is quite a different role to what you do internationally, and I think you learn to adapt and change and I guess find the times that you still can challenge the guys and push a bit harder, and times where you actually have to let off a bit and just let them play and work things out. And I think it's the great thing about our team at the moment. We have an experienced group of guys that are still open to being challenged, but also know their games very well. So I guess we go into our summer with confidence that we can keep playing good cricket as we have.
What have you been most proud of in terms of the team over the last 12 months, Gary?
Look, just being good people, really. I mean, the wins and losses will look after themselves, but the bunch of the guys that we play at, I think, are really, really proud of playing for New Zealand. I get the most, I guess, joy out of seeing the public and the fans come down and wanting to watch the Black Caps play cricket, and that means we're playing a brand that's exciting, that people have seen winning come as somewhat of a norm as well. So I guess that, along with obviously the big world events, are things that we get measured on ultimately, and to be at